Welcome back to Taylor's Tech Repair. So, what are we getting into today? Well, today we're going to get into a couple sets of HP, and that's really all I know as per normal. We're going to plug them in, turn them on, and see what happens. So, let's get into the chaos. So, let me get one of the HPs pulled over that I grabbed. And let's connect it to my universal charger. Usually, this blue tip is for HPs 90% of the time. Looks like it's going to go in this top right hand corner. Sorry, I just bumped this camera a little bit. And let's turn it on. So we got signs of life. And it actually showed me an HP screen. But it's just power cycling, it looks like. I'll see if it does it again. It showed that HP screen twice in a row. And now we're sitting on a blank screen. Boot device not found. Okay, we've seen that before. Let's turn it off and get into it. See what's going on. So this one has RAM since it tried to boot up. And it looks like it has 11 screws, possibly, if I counted that right. And all of them are removed at the moment. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what's going on. And there's a screw sitting inside of it as well. Go ahead and put that screw away. And right here is where a hard drive could go, or an SSD right here. It does have RAM, like I was saying. This battery, I thought it was bulged out at first, but pushing upon it doesn't feel like it. Thought it might have been a bad battery, but it doesn't actually look like that is the case. So I do have a hard drive. Let me grab that real quick out of my supplies. I have a 750 gigabyte drive here, so it's going to be a really big drive for this laptop, but I'm going to take the casing off from around it in order for it to go in here. So that's just going to be a number of screws that we got to remove. And while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and ground ourselves so that way we don't damage any components. I did just drop a screw inside here. I'll have to grab that out so I can see where it went. I don't actually see where it went, so there it is. Let's flip it over and take it out. So let's unscrew the rest of these screws, and then we'll put this boot device in and try booting up. I'm just going to set these screws right up here for now. There's 4 screws, 2 on each side to get this out of here. We should just be able to slide this out, and then make sure slide this in the proper way. And let's get the cover. Now that hard drive I just pulled out was from a broken laptop that I got for parts that is probably going to have Windows on it. So we're going to have to reset that boot device. But we might need some sort of bracket, because whenever we try putting the case back on, it's hitting something. Oh, just like it does before. This model, where the internet port comes in and out, comes down whenever you take the case off. So you got to make sure that is laying flat. And there we go. So let's go ahead and grab some screws and screw this ball back down. So we're just going to go along the outside edges here. And put all these screws back in. So all the screws I'm using are actually from a laptop that I took apart, and I took every screw out that I could see, because I knew I would need screws for some of these. And I did buy I think it's 888 pack of screws, but if I can use the old ones out of a device that's no longer being used, why not? So there's 4 screws on the bottom, and then 3 screws on the side, and 3 screws are in the middle, and then 3 screws at the top. So let's get all these put in. We'll try booting to Windows. If it does find that boot device, we'll have to connect, and it has a password. We'll have to connect it to our bootable USB, and then wipe that drive that I just put in, and boot Windows from it. I keep dropping the screw, so let's just go ahead and put it in the hole. I was trying to get it on the screw head before I screwed it down. We got 3 more screws. I'm going to flip this over this way just so I can get to these screws a little easier. And there's 3 along the bottom here. So let's go ahead and put those in. And then we should be all set to go once I get this one in right now. All right. Yep. So let's flip this guy over. Since it was on the charger for a little bit, let's go ahead and see if it turns on. Does not appear to do so. So let's go ahead and connect it to the charger. It has been sitting a while, so the battery's probably dead on it. I don't know if it has a good battery or a bad battery. I'm going to suspect it has a bad battery, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll test that by leaving it on the charger for a little while it boots into Windows. And then we'll pull it off and see if it dies right away. Usually that Windows process takes about 20-30 minutes. So I do see it's preparing. We're going to see if it comes up or not. Okay, it's saying Windows didn't load correctly actually here. Um, it brought me to a recovery screen. I'm actually, since it's showing me that, I want to see advanced repair options. I'm gonna get a troubleshoot. I'm gonna try to show you guys this. Advanced options, and then command prompt. And there is an account on here. So I'm going to restart this computer. Turn it back on, and I believe F10 on these is how we get into where we can boot from. Yes, entering setup mode. That's what it says down here at the bottom. And then we're going to arrow over. Unfortunately, with this, I can't put it on my display capture. We're going to go over, arrow over to advanced, boot options. We're going to go down and renumber our boot order. We'll hit enter on that, and we're going to move my USB up so we boot up from that first instead of the hard drive I just put in. And then once we get to there, I'll show you guys some commands that you guys can use. If you ever have to wipe a disk, ever, I don't recommend doing it. If you don't know what it does, it removes all your data, so you need to be careful with it. But if you know what you're doing, you should be fine. Go ahead and unground ourselves here while we wait for that. And there we go. It is prompting us to set up Windows. So we're going to hit next. And then here, instead of hitting install now, we hit repair your computer. That way we can wipe the drive, troubleshoot, command prompt. And then you're brought into this little page that you can start typing commands. I believe the first command is disk. Part, P-A-R-T. And that's going to bring you to same little page, but be able to look into the disks and do stuff with your memory disks. So then list disks. It's going to show us two, the one we just put in, and then the USB. 0 is the one we just put in because it has about 700 gigabytes free. So we're going to select disk 0. And then tell it to clean. And that was successful, so we're going to exit and exit. Now we're going to turn off the PC. It's going to boot back to that window where it asked us to set up Windows. I'll turn it on back manually. Even though I told it to restart, it didn't come on right away. I'll just restart it. So that's starting to come up here. All right. So we're going to hit next. Tell it to install Windows. And then, just as always, when it asks me what kind of install, I'm going to choose custom. Now, you've probably heard me say this multiple times if you've watched my videos, but the reason I do that is because I like, personally, choosing what discs to go on. And then it also allows you to see multiple discs instead of it choosing for you. So that's starting up. And we'll give that a few moments. While that comes up, I'm actually going to change something here so you guys can see a little bit better what I've been talking about. So that's starting up. I'm going to move this aside for now while that installs, because that's going to take about 20 minutes. And I got this HP here. Let's open it up. I doubt it's going to turn on. It's been sitting for a while. I believe the power looks like it might be on the side, maybe. It is not. Actually, not seen one of these before. Don't see a power button at the top. Maybe I missed it on the side. Maybe this is the power button. Nope, that's for a SIM card. Now you would think it wouldn't be that difficult to find it. But I just don't see it. Usually, oh, it's right there. It blended right into my metal. That was kind of silly. So this can take a USB-C charger. I'm going to plug that in. And we're going to try turning it on. It does light up. But this is flashing the caps lock 2 times slow, 3 times slow, 2 times fast. Now, if you watch my other videos, we know that means an RAM issue. So all the original screws are actually in this. This doesn't look like it's been taken apart. All the ones that we've had missing RAM on, that we got was taken apart by someone else. So that makes me very curious on what's going on. Most of them don't have their screws, or they only have 3 or 4 screws holding it down. This one has all the screws. All 6 screws here. So let's unscrew everything. These look like some really long screws here. There's 2. There's 3, and then these screws at the bottom I have loosened up, but they're not just coming out. But I think I can get this plastic off and get them to come out. Maybe. Oh, okay. Saw this middle one that I forgot to take out. Okay. There we go. It feels as if something's still holding it down. There are 2 screws in these bigger holes, which I did not realize there were screws in there. So now, should be able to lift up. There's a screw sitting here. So what I see right away, so where our RAM would belong, and our SSD is missing. Now, I do have some RAM. I don't have any SSD. However, I think the RAM configuration that this might be in, I need for a different laptop. Which I believe is this one. Yep. Our 4 gigabytes. I need to set that aside because we have another laptop that needs RAM. And I have to use that for that laptop, so we can't obviously use it in this one. But I'm just going to double check, make sure nothing else I have works. I have 3 more sticks to check here. Okay, so no, none of the assortment I have works that I can use for it. So we'll have to get parts for this. So we're going to write that down so I don't forget that this needs an SSD and a RAM. I'm just going to write down what configuration this is. All right, so now we're going to put this back together. And we are going to fully screw this back down since it does have all screws in it. I believe the other one that we're needing parts for, I left partially undone. That way I can easily open it up, put the parts in, and close it back up. But since this has all the screws, let's go ahead and put all the original screws back in. We do need to tighten the ones in this hole and the ones in this hole. Now, if you can see them, they are little black screws. But if you didn't know those were there, those could cause you to break this case, bend this case, if you're rough on it. Thankfully, I was able to feel that there was still something in there holding this case down. So I knew there had to be some screws somewhere. Now, I haven't seen a laptop like this in a while, but there are some laptops, for whatever reason, they have a screw underneath the keyboard to get the bottom of the case off. And those, I had to take that apart one time. Can be tricky. You gotta like move keys around, either take a key off, shift it over a little bit so you can get in there. And it can be a pain. But thankfully, I've only seen that once. It doesn't seem like a common thing that they do. So, let's screw back together. We're going to set this aside. Actually, we're going to ride on it real quick before we set it aside to remind ourselves, hey, whenever we take this apart and get parts for it, these are the parts that it needs. It needs RAM, and an SSD. So we're going to set this aside, put that paper in it on our needs part shelf. Now, if you remember, there was a video, and I still have it, where this Dell needed a battery. And it also needs a bracket to hold down the hard drive we got for it. I am still waiting on the battery and the bracket. We'll come back to this. I have not forgot about the project. I also took apart 2 HPs last time. I'm still waiting. I've not ordered the parts for those yet. But once I do, we'll get those going. So we're going to set the RAM that fit in that that we'll use for a different HP right up here for now. And while we were taking that apart, looking at what was going on, this laptop has booted into Windows. I saw it restarted. I'll give it a moment. I'll make sure that it successfully fully boots here. While that boots up, for our next video, as we have not got parts yet, more HPs. In fact, looking at it, this is the same exact type of HP we just took apart. We got 2 more of them actually over there. So we'll take a look at those. While that boots into Windows, let me grab the 4 screws that we took out of that hard drive holder. We'll put them away. And it should boot just in a moment, as it says here. And we're deground ourselves because we're not taking anything else away, or anything else apart, I should say, not away. What am I saying? Words are hard sometimes. And we'll give that a few moments. Once it is done, I guess we'll pause the recording here, and we'll come back whenever this is finished, because I don't want to make you guys sit here and wait all day. All right. All right, so that has booted into Windows. It's asking me to set up. I'm going to disconnect it from the power source. It did stay on, so the battery is just fine. We're going to restart it, disconnect my USB, and then plug it back, or have it turned back on. I really don't need to plug it back in. I can, but it's not necessary. So we'll just disconnect the universal charger, put that up here. And I want to make sure that this boots into Windows and this is fully ready to go. And the reason I do this is I have seen it for some reason. I've only seen it once. I booted from Windows from this USB, installed it onto the hard drive, unplugged the USB, and it still couldn't find the boot device. So I had to reinstall Windows back on it, and then it was able to find the boot device every time we turned that device on. It, for some reason, I don't know if something happened during that install where it fully didn't install. So I always like to double check that, hey, make sure that your Windows actually boots. So it's saying just a moment again. I'll give it just a moment. and it booted into that same Windows screen. So this one is all finished. Let's go ahead and turn it completely off. And then we'll close that. I'm going to keep that RAM stick that I need to use for a different laptop up there. But that is all we got for today. So if you liked this video and like the tech chaos and the successful repair of one laptop, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.